Hi, this is Cal Ripken Jr., and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
In the ML Sports Platter, back with you all over the major platforms, Spotify and Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, iHeart Music, Amazon, you name it. Download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We are brought to you by our great friends over at the Vince Aguirre Consulting Group, Welch & Company Jewelers, Barks and Rec Doggy Daycare, and Bryant and Stratton College. For every and in life, Bryant and Stratton College 2- and 4-year degrees are starting right now. So make sure you sign up, bryantstratton.edu. Become a Bobcat today. Athletics, academics, and excellence. It's a great place to be. bryantstratton.edu. The Bobcats and their athletic schedule also available at bscbobcats.com and all social media platforms as well. I'm going to deep dive into Major League Baseball. If you've listened to my podcast, if you've listened to past shows, I actually used to do a segment called Around the Bigs where I'd just kind of dive in, talk about standings and storylines, what's going on, any recent injuries, etc. And as I record this, we've seen quite a bit, this week already. The week started with Garrett Cole not having it, and then the Yankee offense was putrid. And so, yes, by the way, I'm going to go around the bigs right now. It was so predictable at the beginning of the year. I don't know why people couldn't see it. I don't know why folks get caught up in the Mission 28 stuff. I don't know if it's Yankee Twitter and millennial, the millennial world, which frankly, again, small fraction of people in general who actually understand the game. I don't know. But this was so predictable. The Yankees right now are not a good baseball team. Period. Not a good baseball team. And I think not only are they not a good baseball team because they can't hit in the clutch and the same problems that occur. The starting pitching has hung in, but yet there's been a couple of guys who have fallen off, right? I mean, look at the last start by Jordan Montgomery against Baltimore. It's just absolutely inexcusable to go to Baltimore and get lit up like a Christmas tree like that. There are still major questions out there. People love Domingo Germán now, but what's he going to be like in 3 months? Jordan Montgomery just got tattooed. Jamison Tyone, I think inconsistency is going to wreak its ugly head. Corey Kluber, same type thing. Can those guys actually hold up? Will Severino even give him anything at the end of the year? Garrett Cole, pretty much the only guy you can count on. And then you lose that start against Texas because you can't hit as well. And he didn't have it, let's be honest. And he's allowed a bad game. Everybody's allowed a bad game. But this team, on top of that now, is the same thing that's gone on, the injuries, right? The injury bug now, again, has hit. Aaron Hicks, out with the wrist. Stanton, quad issues. Same type stuff that's going on, right? Bone and tissue injuries, the same exact stuff that's gone on the last multiple years, despite the Yankees changing their entire medical staff, right? And making sure that they were going to get it right in 2019. Oops. Going to get it right in 2020. Oops. Going to get it right in 2021. Oops. And look at the guys who are out. Big money, big contract, overrated, overpaid. Aaron Hicks, 7-year deal. He's on the books till he's 37 years old. It's a joke. Brings nothing to the table. Can't hit from either side. He's become a disastrous center fielder, which is why they signed him long-term, because they followed the ridiculous defensive metrics in terms of the analytics, right? Giancarlo Stanton's a $30 million DH. He had that little boost. Remember, he had that big classic Giancarlo Stanton hitting spree, and then tailed way down after that, and now he's injured. Shocking. I mean, you can connect the dots here. You don't have to be that wise of a man or a gal to figure this out. Okay, you don't have to be that wise of a fan to figure this out. Giancarlo Stanton overswings all the time. He's hurt all the time. I mean, this guy can't even play the field and he still gets injured, right? This team collectively is a disaster. There's only 3 or 4 guys on the entire roster I actually trust in their respective capacity. Garrett Cole, starting pitcher, ace of the team. DJ LeMahieu, most versatile player, best hitter. Gio Urshela, who's had a pretty good year so far and is hitting the clutch and all the rest. Kyle Higashioka behind the plate. Now, I know he also had a bad game against Texas earlier in the week on Monday, but, I still trust him on this team. I still trust him to call a good game. I trust him to block balls and field his position correctly and get hits in the clutch. I trust him. I don't trust anybody else. I don't. Gleyber Torres is out right now. Brett Gardner can't hit. Clint Frazier forgot how to play baseball. This Yankee team's a mess. Absolute disaster. And it's not going to get any better. And I understand that they're, right in that 500 couple of games over. Oh, it's not that bad because for as bad as they're playing, let's say 22-19, they're only 2.5 back of Boston still. They're only 2 back in the loss column. And I understand all that. It's a mediocre world. That's exactly, and I talked about this at the beginning of the year, about how the American League was so down, and really it's come to fruition here. There are a lot of average to way below average teams, and it's an opportunity for a team or two to just kind of run with it here. Now, granted, you've had the 6, 7, 8 games over 500 Astros and A's, but then you got the below 500 Angels. You have the below 500 Rangers. You have the 500-ish or so or below 500 Mariners, right? And then in the Central, it's like Twins, Tigers, Royals, below 500 or well below 500. Cleveland, hovering around 500 or a couple games over for quite some time. And the White Sox, as I record this, 3.5 games up in the division, they could be a team that is able to run away with the division. They could. They could run away with the division because of how poor that AL Central is. You look at the East, nobody's going to be able to overwhelm you. Just when you think Toronto's going to go on a 7-8 game win streak, they stop hitting for a game, or they get a really bad start, right? They lose a big scoring game. I like their team. I think they have a real shot to make the wild card this year. I do. Hell, they could win the division. Vlad Guerrero is absolutely mashing the baseball. No surprise there. His commitment to, the weight loss and all the rest has really paid off. He's fielding his position. You can't argue, Kevin Biggio and Bo Bichette, they've struggled a little bit in the field, but that trio of youngsters, and wait until they get George Springer back all the way, Teoscar Hernandez, they've got a real lineup there, and the pitching holds up. They're going to be pretty good. They're going to be really, really good for a long time. I think they could have gone out and gotten a couple more arms in the offseason for sure. I also don't trust the bullpen long term. We'll see what happens there. The Rays are just hanging around, just like they always do. A few games over 500, winning with pitching, winning with the bullpen, winning with timely hits. It's the same formula. For this Rays team, it's the same thing every single year. They trade Blake Snell, Charlie Morton goes to the Braves in free agency, and hey, you know what? No problem. Don't worry. They'll keep winning. They got this. And it's one guy after another every single year, a no-name guy, a lunch bucket guy. If it's not Brandon Lowe and Willie Adams, and they both struggled this year hitting for the most part. Rosarina has been pretty good from a power standpoint. He's racked up some home runs and some RBI. Slugging is down. OPS is not that great, but he's done it in spots for sure. But Brousseau hasn't really hit this year. But then you turn and you look at this: Joey Wendell, Francisco Mejia. Who is Joey Wendell? How do these guys do it every year? Mike Zunino, Austin Meadows, right? Like, a lot of their guys aren't having really good years. In fact, a lot of guys across baseball are hitting 200, 185, 225, etc. But this is a team that knows, they know who it is, and they know how to win. It's the formula. We're going to, beat you to a bloody pulp in terms of our pitching and our bullpen. we're gonna throw out Tyler Glasnow. I mean, look at Tyler Glasnow. Look at Rich Hill. Rich Hill is 40 years old. Right? 40 years old. 40, 41 years old. And he's killing it. He's been a baseball nomad for the longest time. All of a sudden, look at the way he's attacking batters. Look at how he mixes his fastball late in counts. Look at how he's able to get people with the off speed right away. Tampa's working with these pitchers. They go there, and all of a sudden, instantly something improves. Ryan Yarbrough. They're leaning on Ryan Yarbrough and Rich Hill this year in the rotation behind Tyler Glasnow and a couple of others, Colin McHugh and company, of course. And then they go right to the bullpen with Fairbanks and Castillo, and they're just ripe and ready to just keep winning games the way Tampa Bay knows how to win games. And yeah, if you're asking me who I'd rather be a fan of, the Yankees or the Rays in my life, of course. I mean, I've seen World Series wins, pennant wins, division wins, more Hall of Famers, blah, 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 more success across the board. But the current here and now times, I mean, Tampa Bay is a superior team to the Yankees. And they know what they need. They know what they want. They know how to win. I've been, despite the losses of Cleveland, with their trades and the last couple of years, Clevenger not there anymore and Lindor not there anymore. I've actually been pretty impressed with the Cleveland Indians. I mean, they've stuck in there pretty nicely. A couple of games over 500 as I record this. They've really gotten, I think, timely hitting. The problem is the pitching. I just don't think that pitching is gonna hold up. They're relying clearly on Jose Ramirez. There's two guys who are just really they're relying on big time right now, and that would be probably Jose and Harold Ramirez and Franmil Reyes for sure. The designated hitter from Cleveland, who really is just, I mean, he's already at double-digit bombs this year, so is Jose Ramirez. You're talking about guys who have, as we record this, almost 30 RBI. This is a team that's relying on, like many others, the long ball and relying on it from two or three guys, right? And their pitching, I'm just not sure is going to hold up. Shane Bieber, is obviously the ace of this staff. I don't know if these guys can hang in long term after that one spot, right? I just don't know. And the bullpen is a shell of itself from a few years ago for sure. Sam Hentage is just not going to get it done. He got shelled against the Angels earlier in the week. Henches just got dominated, early in counts, couldn't get ahead of batters. And, they get down early with the pitching, and voila. They're going to beat some teams. They're going to beat some teams, too, because the other teams aren't very good, right? I mean, they're playing in the NL Central, or in the AL Central, so you've got 19 with the Twins, 19 with Detroit, 19 with the Royals, right? So, I mean, you do quick math there, 19, 38, 20, 58, 57 games, a 30-year schedule. A 30-year schedule is against those three horrific teams. Kansas City's going to finish well below 500. Detroit's going to be well below 500, and Minnesota for that matter. And frankly, those two teams could lose 100 games. They're that bad. I mean, Detroit baseball, what's become of them. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was, 15 years ago, but that's not 100. Scherzer, Verlander, winning trades, Dave Dombrowski winning the pennant, power, Victor Martinez, lefties, righties, power, average, starters, bullpen. 95 to 100 wins a year. And Detroit is just a complete disaster. Ultra rebuild mode. Minnesota, they got power hitters, power bashers, big-time players, Buxton and Snow and company. But, again, consistency. Bad starting pitching, bad bullpen. You're not going to win. You're just not going to win consistently. You're not. Look at Baltimore. Baltimore's the same way. They've been the same way for a long time. Boston, been impressed. Been impressed with the Red Sox. I mean, here's Chaim Bloom in there. They let a lead slip away there. I think it was Sunday this past week. Rafael Devers hit that unbelievable 3-run home run. That was they went ahead on that, right? And then they just let the lead slip away. Their bullpen, Adam Ottavino's been shaky. Acquired him in free agency from the Yankees, or a trade, I should say, from the Yankees. They're relying on, the three-headed monster, or I should say four or five. Well, no, five. I would say five-headed monster at this particular point. Didn't realize that the averages had gotten up there by a few of these guys. But, Rafael Devers having a great year. J.D. Martinez killing it. Xander Bogaerts killing it. Bogaerts right now is, I think, making a play for MVP. I really do. Alex Verdugo is really, really good. I mean, they got him in the Mookie Betts trade, and he's been pretty good. As we record this, 5 home runs, nearing 20 RBI. And then they're getting some piecemeal stuff out of, Chavez and Chavis, and Vasquez, and Enrique Hernandez has been doing a few things here in center field. So, again, with them, it's starting pitching. It's starting pitching, and it's bullpen. I mean, you look around baseball, it's unbelievable. They're relying on, nomads and damaged goods in the rotation. Look around baseball, there's so many teams that are hoping, 4 or 5 guys carry in the lineup, and the starting pitching and the bullpen is just atrocious. I mean, Boston's like that. Baltimore's like that. Although I think Boston's lineup is obviously superior, but you get the point. I mean, you're counting on 3 to 5 guys in the rotation, in the hitting order rather, and then your rotation is a disaster, and your bullpen it just can't hold leads, right? That's really what it boils down to. Detroit, Minnesota, Kansas City, Boston, Baltimore. Hell, the Yankees. I mean, right now, the Yankees, it's like LeMahieu, Urshela, Higashioka, or bust in the order. And then it's Garrett Cole, and you're hoping that other guys can hang on, and the bullpen doesn't get tired because of all these short stints. 4 innings, 5 innings, Montgomery getting killed, Kluber, Tyone. What are these guys going to be able to deliver? I don't know as if all these guys are going to be able to hang in long-term, as I mentioned earlier. The Angels have spent piles and piles and piles of money. Shohei Ohtani's been a great story. I think he's an MVP candidate, no question. And if this guy pitches and hits all year like this, you won't be able to ignore him being an MVP candidate, right? I mean, this guy has been spectacular. But they're under 500. Mike Trout, best player in the game. We hear it over and over again. Well, Mike Trout has, for some foolish reason, trusted Angel management to do the right thing. Mistake. It's like I read all this garbage on social media and make-believe Twitter and all the rest. Oh, my goodness, Mike Trout. I feel so bad for the guy. He's playing in that place. He can't get to the postseason. Well, he decided to sign there, folks, right? I mean, I fully expect Texas and Seattle to be sellers at the deadline. I think the division's going to come down to the 2 teams that are right at the top as we record this. 6, 7, 8-ish games over 500. Houston and Oakland. And I picked Oakland and Tampa to make the playoffs again as wildcard teams because the A's and Rays just somehow figure it out. They just do. The A's, power pitching, the OBP, still relying on a little bit of the money ball from Bean, right? They just figure it out. Now, I don't want anything to do with being an A's fan in October because they always choke. We get the point. They at least make it. Houston, again, really, really good team. George Springer, gone. Verlander, not back yet. But it shows you that they've got some pretty darn quality players. They still have Lance McCullers Jr. in there, who I think is really, really, really good. And their lineup is spectacular. They still have Altuve. I mean, I know they cheated. And won a World Series. I get it. But they're still pretty good. I mean, Yordan Alvarez, really, really good. Yuli Gurriel, really, really good. Correa, Bregman. I mean, this is actually a rare instance in the bigs where you have 6, 7 guys hitting between 250, 60, and like 310, 320, 350. Seriously. Because Yordan Alvarez is in that case. He's hitting 348 right now. Yuri Gurriel is hitting 322. Alex Bregman's hitting 311. I mean, you really have realistically a few Hall of Fame possible players here, future Hall of Famers in this lineup. I don't know how the voters down the line, if Correa's eligible and Bregman and Altuve, how they're going to view the cheating thing. I don't know. We're a long way away from that. But look at this lineup. This is actually a lineup that can hit from top to bottom. I mean, even Diaz in left field has given you, a 272 average or so. Michael Brantley, almost 300. Altuve, home runs, average. They're stealing bases. They hit balls in the gap. Correa, Gurriel, Alvarez, Kyle Tucker in right field's been great. A little bit of a lower average, but he's been great with the power numbers, and he's been able to blend a little bit. He strikes out a ton. That's the other thing with the Houston Astros, too. Like, other than Tucker and Alvarez, and Gurriel, a lot of these guys don't strike out a ton. I mean, Bregman, when you compare it to today's game, Bregman, Correa, Altuve, Brantley, they don't really strike out a ton. They really, really don't. So this is a really good Houston team, and I picked them to win the division, and I'm not surprised by their success. I'm just not. I'm really not. ML Sports Platter brought to you by our good friends at Stanley Law Offices, Bryant and Stratton College, and Welch and Company Jewelers. Log on to welchjewelers.com. Shop the showcase today. Engagement rings, wedding rings, you name it, bracelets, necklaces. Welch and Company Jewelers is a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor and the official jewelry store of the platform. In the National League, you look at the East, and again, mediocrity reigns. Every team at 500, a game or two over 500, 3 games under 500, 5 games under 500 for the Nationals as I record this. So, you look at this division, and it's just weak across the board. I mean, they're beating each other up, no question. I think the Miami Marlins, the fighting Marlins, are a team that is going to give teams trouble down the stretch. Obviously, it's a team that's good. They're kind of a lot of teamwork and building there with Jeter and company trying to get that thing steered in the right direction. A team that plays pretty solid defense, but again, they just get overwhelmed in big spots. I mean, they can't go up against an ace and hidden ace. They can't go up against a big-time lineup and beat that lineup. They're still getting overwhelmed. We'll see what happens. They don't have a ton of budget to be able to go out and blow money on some better players in free agency and all the rest. They can't make a ton of trades. Jeter cleaned house, obviously. Ozuna's gone. Yelich is gone. Stanton is gone. They've traded a bunch of guys trying to kind of build from within as well as getting guys from elsewhere in terms of fresh prospects. But this Marlins team, again, 500 team. Braves, Acuna, recent struggles here. He had just recently gotten injured as well. Soroka having some problems with the Achilles. He's out for a while. Pitching is underwhelmed. Bullpen is underwhelmed. Lineup is hit and miss. I mean, they get some power and some major play from multiple guys, and all of a sudden it's where'd the lineup go? Just inconsistency across the board. This division reeks of mediocrity, and it reeks of inconsistency. Same thing with the Phillies. Just when you think they're kind of figuring it out, guys are starting to hit. Real Muto, Gregorius, right? Like the rotation maybe is kind of coming into form here. They're going to kind of go on a win streak. Boom, boom. Toronto smacks them around. NL Central. I picked the Cardinals to win the division. I think they're clearly the best team. Milwaukee is a fun team, and they just got a lot of power in the rotation and in the bullpen arms. There's no doubt about that. I think they're a really fun team. The bats recently, erupted 10 runs, 12 hits there earlier in the week. That was good to see if you're a Brew Crew fan. They got a lot of power in the rotation. There's no question. They got a lot of power in the bullpen. Every time he goes out, Corbin Burns can shut you down. Woodruff can go out there and shut you down. And we know what their bullpen is all about. We know that Josh Hader and company can absolutely mow you down. They've just got so many arms from the left and the right that can hurt you, from Anderson to Burns to Woodruff to Hader and Peralta. All these guys in the bullpen. Boxberger. They just throw so many people out at you from the starting rotation to the end of the game. It's just going to be a matter of if the hitting can get consistent. And I don't think there's a lot of teams in Major League Baseball who have consistent hitting as a whole. The Brewers can pitch. The Brewers can field. Jackie Bradley's made some crazy great catches. Avisel Garcia and Wright's had a pretty solid year so far. But this Brewer team, again, right, closer to 500 than they are, well above 500. Closer to mediocrity than going on a big-time streak. They're going to benefit from the division a little bit, right? Like just like Cleveland is, and just like the White Sox will in the AL Central, right? I mean, other than the Cardinals, You've got 500 teams galore, and the Cubs, I think, will probably continue to be sellers. The Reds are under 500. The Pirates are under 500. They're going to be, I think, well under 500 for quite a while. The Cardinals clearly have the best team because they have the most balance, the most versatility. They have a blend of pretty much everything. I really like this Cardinal team. You've got Nolan Arenado, who's hot right now, home run in 3 straight games. They really are a good team. And, you've got Goldschmidt, you've got Arenado, you've got the Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer in Yadi Molina. I think he is anyway. They have a core there. They have some players that if you're a Cardinal fan, you can count on them. You can trust them when they're up there with runners in scoring position. Again, I can't trust the Yankees with runners in scoring position. Nobody can hit people in. Goldschmidt can. Arenado has as well. DeJong can give you a couple of solid at-bats with RISP, right? You've got Yadi Molina, who looks the part and is healthy. He's hitting over 290 right now. Tommy Edman, the second baseman, don't snooze on him. Still maybe a couple of solid at-bats left here this year for other players like a Matt Carpenter. Right now his average is absolutely brutal. But Taylor O'Neill's hitting 250 with 8 home runs and 18 RBI as I record this. So, the Cardinals easily have the best team. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And their rotation, we'll see how this goes, but Jack Flaherty, I always want to say Jake. Jack Flaherty right now is an NL Cy Young candidate, no question. I mean, as I record this, he's got a 2.47 ERA, he's 7-0. And he's got 48 strikeouts. He's got a great whip. He's holding teams to a 192 average. I mean, he's really, really pitching well. And then you look at, a Carlos Martinez. You look at, Adam Wainwright, his record-wise ERA, not really that great, but they've hung in with, other pitchers. And it's amazing, isn't it? Like Giovanni Gallegos, who was acquired in the Luke Voit deal, you can kind of use him as that long man. And a lot of Yankee fans, a lot of people want to brag that the Yankees and Cashman stole Luke Voit. You're not paying attention to who was traded for him, because Gallegos has been, for what the Cardinals need and for what a relief pitcher is, he's probably equaled the part to Luke Voit. He really has. Do I think the Yankees maybe a little bit more, like just by maybe a 55-45, 60-40, won the trade? Maybe. But it's not a blowaway win. This isn't a one-sided trade win here. I mean, Gallegos has been really good for this team in St. Louis. Halsey, Flaherty, Martinez, they can hang in there with a rotation, mid to back end. After Flaherty, this team will win the division, and they have plenty of offense to boot, plenty of offense. I mean, between Goldschmidt, Arenado, Yadi Molina, DeJong, I think Carpenter will probably come around. You wait until it gets a little bit towards, that June, July time. Guys might hit some strides. I think St. Louis will be just fine. I think St. Louis is going to win the division. I think it's a really good team. I think they're a World Series contender as well, because I think, with the clutch genes and the players they have, and you have an ace, I think St. Louis could give the Dodgers, a run for their money as well. I really do. Speaking of the Dodgers, they picked up Albert Pujols. I was surprised that Pujols went there. I didn't expect him to go to a National League team. But, the Dodgers just keep collecting players. They have Andrew Friedman and his team. They have an idea of what they want to do. They're adding, obviously, a future Hall of Famer, a veteran guy, somebody who can help with the young players, much like a Bauer can, a Kershaw can, etc. In that lineup, and I think that they're trying to here, the LA Dodgers, they're trying to get a situation going where they've got unlimited depth, and even if that means that an Albert Pujols is going to come in and just give you, and he had an RBI, on Monday night as I record this. He had an RBI base hit against the D-backs. They just want to keep adding the depth, And we know that for as good as a team can be, we know that injuries are going to happen, and we know that you have to have depth, you have to have versatility, you got to move players around. I mean, look what happened to Corey Seager, right? I mean, you look at just, it's devastating because Seager, and he's gotten hurt before. I mean, remember, he had that hamstring, he's had some tissue issues in the past, but, this time around, I mean, Seager fractures his hand, and he's going to be out, 6 weeks probably. I mean, they're saying 4 to 6. Other reports saying 6 to 8. Again, they're deep enough to probably get past that. They have Bellinger, they have Turner, they have Betts. I mean, the Dodgers, we know, are loaded. I'm not breaking any news by saying that. But, it only takes 1 or 2 injuries, right, to change the lineup a little bit. And they're figuring, you know what, we're going to plug and play. I mean, they're led by some unbelievable young guys, too. I mean, the Dodgers have done an unbelievable job. I mean, look, they blow a ton of money. They go out and get free agents. They went out and got, Trevor Bauer. They traded for Mookie Betts and signed him. But they also have a real nice underbelly of, young players and guys who they will not trade, they will not give up. Gavin Lux is an example of that at second base. But you get Pujols, now you've got a little bit of depth there, right? I mean, you can say to Max Muncy, hey, you know what? We're going to give you, a day off in this 4-game series in the dog days of August. A guy who, he bats left, throws right, but if you're facing, let's say, a left-handed pitcher and you want to go heavy righties, that's maybe a day where you start Pujols as well, at first base and kind of load up the lineup that way. The Dodgers have a lot, they have a lot of everything, right? They got lefties, they got righties. I mean, you go Turner and Betts, righties, and Muncy, lefty, but then you've got Seager. He's out now, I get it, but, lefty there. Pujols, they hit you from everywhere. But, guys like Will Smith, guys like Max Muncy, guys like Gavin Lux, they've hurt teams, Chris Taylor, they've hurt teams as much as a lot of these other players, the superstar players for the Dodgers. I think this is just a depth move for LA, and I think it's a clubhouse move. Can you really hurt your locker room by adding Albert Pujols to just playing part-time if you have room for him to get some at-bats? I don't think so. And when the Dodgers play in interleague games, they will play Pujols at DH a lot, I'm sure. There's no doubt. Arizona, underwhelming. Colorado, underwhelming. Those two teams are going to be pretty bad all year. I've been impressed with the Giants this year. San Diego's right there at 25-17. I'd love to see a 3-horse race in this West Division with San Fran, San Diego, and the LA Dodgers. I think that'd be really fun. It's great to see Buster Posey back with the San Francisco Giants. Remember, he opted out with Corona last year, and he's just been one of the truly terrific players. He may be a Hall of Famer down the line. I'm not, the numbers probably look like he needs some more work, but you can't argue with the postseason success and that run, those even-year World Series teams winning multiple rings, the Bruce Bochy time. The Giants have a lot of championship pedigree on this team, and that, I think, is what's gotten them. And I know Dubon and Yastrzemski and Flores, got the bats going a few nights ago. But really, to me, this team has been about the championship pedigree and the the guys who have been there, done that, right? Like, I think it's been about Buster Posey, right? It's been about clutch hits and home runs, and wow, what an unbelievable start he got off to, this year. It's about guys who have been there. It's about clutch players, great players who know how to win, right? 7th inning tie game, need a clutch hit. Who's coming up with it? So far this year, multiple Giants have put together clutch hits and clutch at bats, but it goes beyond Posey. Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford. There's a lot of winning in that clubhouse. I don't know if the pitching can hold up. I really don't. Johnny Cueto's been pretty good, man. He really has been. But, Alex Wood, can these guys hang in there? Caleb Berriger. Can these guys hang in there? The bullpen. So far, so good. There are a few, multiple games over 500 here. And this is a roster, too, like for the Giants, even though I would think they want to at some time get younger, but they have a lot of guys who are like 30, 31, 32. By the way, the trade for Mike Tauchman was brilliant. You add him in there. Pure stupidity out of the New York Yankees, clearly, because Frazier's lost, Gardner's lost. Stanton and Hicks are down now. You need outfield help. I would have thought that they would have just, they promoted Estevan Florial to AAA. I would have just put him right into the big leagues, just bring him right up. But the Yankees are idiots. You get Mike Tauchman. Now you've got Dickerson, Dugar. You've got Austin Slater, Mike Tauchman, Mike Yastrzemski in the outfield. That's a pretty good balance, good outfield. But a lot of these guys, you look around, Brandon Belt, 33, Brandon Crawford, 34, Buster Posey is 34 years old, right? Like Mike Tauchman, 30, Yastrzemski, 30. We know Yastrzemski, was bouncing around a bunch when he was really, really young. Then he had the Renaissance, and here he is, with the Giants. Terrific stuff there. I'm really impressed. I have no doubt that, San Diego's gonna be there all year. They just got too much. They got Machado, they got Tatis, they've got monster veteran leadership in the clubhouse. When healthy, Eric Hosmer. You've got Darvish and Snell, and you got a lot there. They just have too much to go away. But I'd love to see a 3-prong race. I'd love to see a 3-horse race in the NL West. And frankly, that's where the most exciting baseball is right now, in my opinion. That's, to me, like that's where the most exciting baseball is. It's out west. It's Dodgers. It's Padres. It's Giants right now. The Angels are under 500. Not a good team, obviously, but there's excitement there because of Ohtani and Trout. So it's still West Coast there. The A's are playing well. The West Coast is really where a lot of this is. And you look at the Padres and the Dodgers and the Giants are going to take advantage of those 19 against the Rockies, 19 against the Diamondbacks, but they're also really, really good in terms of just their overall team. They're going to be able to beat anybody. And I would give anything for a National League championship series with the Padres and the Dodgers. I think everybody would love that after the 19 games that are played in the regular season. This team just has too much. They really do. They just have too much. They're hitting for average, they're hitting for power. Again, another team that's a rarity in baseball where the averages are up plus the home runs and the RBI. You got Manny Machado right now, I think, playing. He's got his average way low, but again, he's nearing 30 RBI as I record this. He's been pretty good. He just has the low average. Tatis has had the injury issues, of course, plus Corona. Their rotation is right there. It's they're rolling out Darvish, they're rolling out Paddock, they're rolling out Snell. They're rolling out guys, man. They're rolling out pitchers every night. When you roll out 4 pretty close to studs to stud aces, etc., it's hard for you to go away. So that's a little bit of Around the Bigs, just kind of going around Major League Baseball a little bit. Thanks for listening to the ML Sports Platter. You can get me on Twitter at Mike L Sports, and of course on Instagram. Just go ahead and follow me at ML Sports Platter as well. We are presented by the Al and Angus Pub, home of the best darn Angus burger in town, as well as Camillus Golf Club and your State Farm agent, Matt Graham. Like a good neighbor, Matt and State Farm are both there. Home, auto, loan, you name it, whatever you need, bank, health, business, go ahead and visit them online at SyracuseInsuranceAgent.com. If you're in and around Central New York or the greater state of New York, just get a free rate quote today. Compare it to your other insurance claims and offers and all the rest. No, by the way, ask Matt and his team about the current rate drop from State Farm as well. SyracuseInsuranceAgent.com. Tip of the cap, thank you as well to Western New York OTB and Batavia Downs Gaming. Make sure you go see Batavia Downs Gaming online at BataviaDownsGaming.com for their schedule of concerts. And Western New York OTB, get your local OTB All-Saratoga horse racing season and the upcoming third leg of the Triple Crown. That would be the Belmont Stakes. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.